Welcome back to Trading 360. It's time for the 360 round. For that, let's bring in our panel. Todd Groth is head of research at CoinDesk Indices, and Emil Akesson is founding partner and chairman, CLC Partners. Todd, Emil, thanks so much for joining us. Todd, let's start with you. Before we even get into levels, potential ETFs, and catalysts, I just want to know, how should we be thinking about crypto right now? Is it Bitcoin and then everything else?
Primarily, it's Bitcoin, Ethereum. Those are beyond within the more certainty of regulatory framework because you can trade futures based on them. It's really still a tale of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then everything else. If we look at the broader market, as we look through the CoinDesk Market Index, Bitcoin and Ethereum are really propping up the rest of the market. So very much so, we're seeing Bitcoin dominance much higher than years prior. So it is very much Bitcoin, mostly Ethereum, and then everything else.
So Emil, despite this Bitcoin dominance and some seemingly positive catalysts, Bitcoin has been stuck in this $26,000 range for quite some time. Yes, that's impressive year-to-date gains, but far off those previous highs. What's keeping it in this range?
Well, Bitcoin, it did climb as high as 27, a little bit above even, not too long ago, and ahead of the Federal Reserve meeting on not too long ago. But it turned lower due to a strong selling pressure. Both the 200 weekly and 200 daily moving averages are acting as strong resistance in the 27,800 level, something like that. So, I mean, in the options market, 24,000 puts and 35,000 call options have the largest open interest right now. And that suggests that the market believes that Bitcoin will stay in that range for the foreseeable future.
Todd, what gets it meaningfully above 27,000?
It's all about the Bitcoin spot narrative. And once we get past that, we can see levels higher. It's a bit challenging right now with real yields rising. The 10-year rate now is at four and a half. Over the last few days, post that somewhat hawkish FOMC pause last week. We really need that spot application to be reviewed by the SEC and passed to get us from a Bitcoin either investment in trusts, in Bitcoin miners, in Bitcoin futures ETFs. We truly need that spot ETF to transform the Bitcoin market and bring it, tie it more into the traditional financial system in a much more familiar wrapper as a spot ETF would provide.
Okay, so Todd, we'll talk about potential ETFs in just a second, but Emil, first, do you have a longer-term Bitcoin price target, anything close to those old highs?
Yeah, I think we'll get there. And to Todd's point as well, looking at what the broader financial market is interested in right now, it is very much the spots. I know we're getting in the ETFs. I know we're getting into that a bit later on. But essentially all the conversations I'm having right now, be that with mid-level bank to high-tier asset managers, they're all talking about this. And then, of course, we have the halving coming up as well. So I don't see it as at all unreasonable that we'll reach the former heights, and certainly will surpass that as well in the medium to long term. We have the halving coming up somewhere around March, April, something like that of 2024. And at that point, I would be very surprised if we don't see a significant increase in the valuation of Bitcoin.
Okay, so Todd, the Bitcoin Grayscale ETF did have that big win against the SEC earlier this month. Where do we stand in terms of those regulatory issues, and how much of an impact do you see it having on demand once we're past those?
Once we're passed into the world of a spot ETF, we'll be able to have our grandparents invest in Bitcoin, have those that are less tech savvy invest in Bitcoin, all through an ETF that will track the spot and provide no significant discount or premium to NAV. But until we get there, the existing investments into Bitcoin outside of opening up a crypto exchange account are somewhat clunky, and they're just not well integrated into the existing financial system. So we really need that spot ETF to go to the next level. But we're along our saga, and bit by bit we're chipping away at it. So it will be in the future. It just is from here till hopefully October, if there isn't a government shutdown. If there is a government shutdown, that could actually delay the process a bit because the SEC won't have the same staff to review the applications. But we'll get there. It's just a matter of when.
All right, Emil, we only have 10 seconds left. So you said we'll get back to the old highs. How high? What's your price target?
I wouldn't all be surprised if we hit somewhere around the 40, 50-ish marks by mid next year. Again, that's an estimation, but looking at what's actually happening on the ground, the inch that we have, the spot ETFs, BlackRock going in, certainly I don't see that as unreasonable at all.
All right, thanks for keeping it short. It's going to do it for thanks both to you too, Todd and Emil.